Hello, Jodie here, and this is my third of 3 videos about M2 from Swivl. So M2 is a piece of hardware that also comes with software and an app, is fully AI enabled, very education focused, made for classrooms, so it's locked down, it's safe, and they've done all the things to make sure that M2 will not answer questions that are not appropriate and so on. So this has been set up to use for teachers as part of their professional development, as we saw in video 1, where you can record lessons, transcribe your lessons, and then share them with colleagues either as best practice or as part of your own reflections. You can also share them with mentors, maybe PGCE students can share them with their mentors back in university and so on. But also across your trust, you can be sharing best practice, and also each individual teacher can just reflect on their own teaching, and the M2 will give them feedback. Now I've got up here just to show you the transcript of one of these videos already, because every time I've got this on, the M2 is recording and creating a transcript. And what you can't probably see in detail is that it is giving me, in this transcript, it's transcribed everything I've said, which I can also click on the sound button for each section and listen back. So if you don't want to watch the video, you can just listen to the sound back as well, which you can also share. It might be useful for revision. You can get those files to share with people and so on. But also it's giving me little tips here. So great explanation on the safety features. So as I'm talking, it's making comments. The AI is analysing my teaching, and this has all been created for schools and colleges. So there's those reflections, and then we talked in video 2 about how we can use M2 directly with children and set up tasks and assign them to children in groups individually. And they don't have to use the hardware, they can do that on their software or their app as well, but you can set up all of that through the M2 and the Mirror Talk app. And then the other thing, which I can't directly show you because you need to kind of see it in a classroom setting, but it's really, really powerful. So one of the things you can do is you can ask M2 questions while you're talking. You can ask the AI questions. So you just press this button and then ask it a question specifically, and it will answer. Now I'm not in the lesson taking mode at the moment, so it's not going to do that, but it will say out loud what the answer is. But you can also ask it to translate. So if you are in class and as you're teaching, you've got a child who's newly arrived to the country, isn't speaking the language yet, and you just need them to have a basic instruction, you can ask M2 to say it in their target language. So you can say, explain that homework is due in on a Monday in Spanish, and it will say it in Spanish for you out loud so that child can hear it. But the other thing you can do is, if you have multiple of these, or you can just use this one, you can plug in headphones, and this is a brand new feature that's just come out. You can actually have the children listening in through headphones and it live translating for them. So if you've got multiple children of different languages, they can be set up with these. So long as you've got more than one of the markers, they can be listening in their home language live while you're teaching, which I just think is so powerful and so useful. And it's just another addition to what this can do. So we're using it for professional development and reflecting on our teaching. We're using it for tasks and assigning things to children who can use the AI, but also can use the whiteboard functionality, the video. You can set up these learning paths for them and assign tasks and then view them through your dashboard. But it's also giving us that ability to translate and help every child in the class to access that without any barriers. So the translation, I think, is really powerful. And then the other main thing that Swivl is all about, and therefore the M2 is all about, is reflection. So I talked a little bit in the last video about children reflecting as part of one of their assigned tasks. So you can ask them to reflect at the end on how that learning went. And then in the dashboard on the teacher side, you can see how they're reflected. So you can watch the video, or you can just read the transcript if you don't want to have them on video, and you can do all the settings to make sure that you're happy with what comes through. So you can watch the video, or you can just read the transcription, but it will also give you a little flag, because the AI is also listening to them speak and deciding whether it thinks they have a low or a good mood, for example. So it will give you a little cloudy symbol if it thinks the child's having not a great day, or they just sounded, and it might not be anything to do with the learning itself, but if they sound like they're down, or if they sound like they're happy, they'll get a nice sunny picture. So it gives you a really good overview of how the children are doing. And it can be a really good flag, especially in a classroom where you're not necessarily getting to see them all the time. For example, a secondary school classroom, and you might get them to do a little reflection, and then you notice, oh, actually, they maybe weren't having a great day. And that, coupled with your knowledge of how they did in the lesson or how they did with the assigned task, because they can do these tasks from home or other devices outside of this once you've set them up as well, can be just another addition in that tool belt of being able to reach all of the children in your classes. So these 3 videos have all been a really rushed overview, and I hope you're getting the idea. But what I would really recommend you do is join one of Swivl's webinars on it, because I still feel like I'm really scratching the surface of what's possible, and without using it in my class myself for a long time, I won't be able to give you the full extent, but I can see the possibilities and what can be done. And I love the fact that we've got a piece of hardware with AI in. Because it makes it more real and it makes it more functional as well. It's not just about the AI. The AI is doing really clever stuff, but we're not just presenting a screen to every child to do that on necessarily, but we are showing them and using AI in our lessons in a way that can also lead to those conversations around how we use these things safely and why we're using this instead of just an open one in the classroom, because we know this is locked down to what it will answer and what it will flag up as inappropriate. And it just won't answer questions that aren't educational. And if there are certain words and things, it will flag up to a teacher that this is being said. So really useful classroom tool. I think there's still lots to explore. I would recommend having a look for yourself, because I know I'm a self-confessed geek, so I love playing with stuff like this. But do have a play, and if you want to talk to me more about it, or if you want to join a session with me and I'll show you a little bit more, then do let me know, because I know lots of people also looking into AI things would like to have a look. So take care. Bye.